Okay, guys, and so we are here to do another edition of the Drizzle Wrestling Report. So we do have the results for all the shows, basically, other than Impact and Ring of Honor and a few other shows. But let's get into it right now. So Monday Night Raw starts off with a Beat the Clock challenge match, which sees Charlotte Flair setting the record, and Ronda Rousey and Becky Lynch again show up to Raw. Confrontation, again, building towards this match at WrestleMania. Goodies, I enjoyed that segment. I thought that was good because they were all kind of outdoing each other. Um, Great segment for Raw, honestly. I was pretty impressed. I dug it. Um, and so beyond that, we see backstage that Kurt Angle is going to be facing Samoa Joe. And so we saw a pretty decent match between both of them. A little bit shorter than what we honestly would have thought would have happened compared to their matches in TNA. Overall, Kurt looked pretty sluggish at times during this match, but again, he's reaching retirement in a few weeks. About 2.5 weeks from now, he will be officially retired after WrestleMania. So that doesn't really surprise me, honestly. Again, they're just trying to build him into his retirement. Um, so then we get a segment with um, basically Dean Ambrose, where he essentially challenges Drew McIntyre again to another match, a Falls Count Anywhere match. So we'll move on from that. Then we get a segment where Triple H comes out. He accepts Batista's proposal for their stipulation for the WrestleMania match, where basically no holds barred, and also that Triple H puts his professional career on the line, which means if Triple H loses at WrestleMania, he must retire from in-ring competition. So another stipulation is added here. So again, it's actually good for WrestleMania because I think it's going to get more people interested in that match. Um, we saw a really decent segment between Sasha Bailey, Natalia, and Beth Phoenix, and then again Natalia is attacked by I think it was Tamina. Was it Tamina? No, I'm sorry, Nia Jax. Nia Jax attacks all the tag teams basically. My theory is that they're gonna be building towards like a triple threat tag team match with Natalia, Beth Phoenix, and Sasha Bailey, and Tamina and Nia Jax. So that's what I'm thinking. We also saw the Raw Tag Team Champions lose to Aleister Black and Ricochet. So I'm assuming that what's happening is that Ricochet and Aleister Black eventually down the road are going to be given that opportunity to face the Revival. Because right now, both tag team divisions, Raw and SmackDown, have quite a bit of tag team talent. It's just they're not fully using their potential with all the talent there. Um, so again, we'll move on from that. That was a good segment there. Um, then we get a moment of bliss with Alexa Bliss where she brings Braun Strowman out to the ring. Via satellite, you get the guys from SNL basically apologizing to Braun, saying that they want to, make bygones be bygones at WrestleMania. Then Braun basically convinces Alexa Bliss to allow these guys from SNL to compete in the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. I don't get this. This is kind of random for Braun Strowman going into WrestleMania. I'm not understanding what the point of this is. Anyways, So then we get uh, Finn Balor in what's supposed to be a handicap match that he needs to win to get the Intercontinental Championship shot at WrestleMania. So Leo Rush basically backs out of the match, and then Jinder Mahal is Bobby Lashley's tag team partner with the Singh brothers. The Singh brothers are at ringside. Um, Good that Finn Balor won the match. I'm glad for that. But at the same time, I thought it was a huge, huge waste of time because we already knew down the road that Balor was going to be getting this opportunity. I just thought they could have done a better storyline with this whole thing. But again, it just depends on creative. Again, creative needs to be a little bit more aggressive here. Finn Balor is getting that opportunity, though. He ends up winning the match. He ends up pinning Jinder Mahal. Um, then we get basically an announcement that the Riot Squad is taking on Becky Lynch, Charlotte, and Ronda Rousey. Um, and I don't know why they had to do this whole thing, especially since they had already done the Beat the Clock challenge. Doesn't make any sense to me, honestly, but whatever. Um, then they talk more about the Batista interview that was done the previous week, which I thought was kind of interesting because it gets more into the storyline about the background between both wrestlers and how they became friends and now enemies. I really like that. Commentary I thought was much better on Raw this week. Renee Young did a wonderful job. Um, yeah, I just think that there's so much more that she could be doing if they would give her more opportunities. But anyways, anywho, so Seth Rollins came out and did a speech. He was interrupted by again Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman's basically talking trash again, saying that Lesnar's going to destroy Rollins. So again, Kurt Angle comes out after that and scares the living crap out of Heyman, which was hilarious. As we know throughout history with the company, Heyman was Kurt Angle's manager years ago on SmackDown, so that was kind of interesting. Um, and then let me think here: Dean Ambrose versus Drew McIntyre. Wasn't too bad of a match. Again, Drew McIntyre ends up winning, so Dean is officially 0-3 against McIntyre now. Um, and we have no idea what they're doing with Dean Ambrose, honestly. His contract is not even up until the end of April, so we don't really know whether he's going to be in the Andre the Battle Royal, if he's going to be at ringside with Roman Reigns. Speaking of that, Roman Reigns did come out to accept Drew McIntyre's match for WrestleMania, so that's another match that was added. Baron Corbin fought Apollo Crews and won. Again, he was talking trash about facing Kurt Angle at WrestleMania. So overall, I would say Raw was probably a 7 this week. Pretty decent show, can't complain. I like that they're building the matches. I like the segment with Triple H, that was interesting. There was some pretty good points to it. But it's not going to get an 8 rating or 9 rating this week, no. I think probably the last week before WrestleMania, we're going to be getting a lot more, matches probably being booked, things being worked out. Okay. So, here we go. SmackDown. Wow, what a really good show. So we're gonna leave the subject with this right now. Sorry, it's late at night. I loved the AJ Styles versus Kurt Angle match. I thought that match. Some people are saying it was really short and not as long as it should have been, but I thought there was some pretty good points during the match that were entertaining. and it kind of brought me back to that TNA, 2006, 2007 match, that they had. That those were all-time great matches in TNA, and it really shows that those guys can work together and put great matches on. But again, Randy Orton interfered in the match, hit AJ Styles with an RKO, basically his revenge for being attacked a few weeks ago. So I think that match at WrestleMania between Orton and AJ Styles is going to be one hell of a match. So we'll move on to that, to the New Day basically being put in a gauntlet match where they have to compete against several top tag teams on SmackDown. Gallows and Anderson, Nakamura, Rusev. I'm trying to think of the other tag teams. I know the Usos did not compete in this match. They actually forfeited the match. Then we get towards the end of the match, after the New Day has defeated at least 3 or 4 tag teams. Again, I don't remember all the tag teams in the match. But what I noticed was Daniel Bryan is really, really excelling at his heel role on SmackDown. This guy is a great heel for SmackDown, is their champion. He was throwing a hissy fit backstage, throwing chairs, broke a TV. This guy is a pure villain, honestly. I never thought Daniel Bryan could be a heel like this, but man, he just does this role so well. The other matches I thought were really solid on SmackDown. And I liked the segment where Becky Lynch came out, did her spiel, like she normally does, where she's talking about the WrestleMania match. Charlotte Flair came out basically saying, okay, well, if you think that I don't belong in this match at WrestleMania, I'm taking on Asuka tonight. Now, on the website, it was announced we were supposed to get a 4-way match between Naomi, Carmella, Mandy Rose, and Sonya. That match did not happen. It was scrapped. It was not even on the show. So now Charlotte Flair defeats Asuka and is now the SmackDown Women's Champion. So she's going to be going to WrestleMania as SmackDown Women's Champion. And so Ronda is the Raw Women's Champion. And so we're unaware of the situation that they're going with forward here, because Becky's the only person in the match who is not a champion. So are they going to be defending both titles against Becky? Or is Charlotte going to be defending the title next week on SmackDown against another opponent and lose that match so that Asuka gets her rematch? We're not really sure what the situation is right now, but I was dumbfounded when this match happened, because I was like, huh? How does this make any sense, WWE? Why does this make sense? Please tell me. Anyways, I don't want to keep going on about that. I just think that was not a really smart idea for the company. But anyways, we'll just, yeah. Oh, man. Okay, so The Miz basically went out and did his interview about how he felt about what happened at Fastlane in this match against Shane McMahon at WrestleMania, which is now a Falls Count Anywhere match against Shane McMahon, which means they can beat the living crap out of each other all over MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. That's going to be freaking sweet. So we don't know what's going to happen in that match. That could go either way. No plans for the SmackDown Tag Team Champion situation at WrestleMania. Still, with 2 weeks left out of WrestleMania. I don't get this. You have the talent there. Book it. I mean, they could fight the Usos could fight the Hardys. They could fight the Bar. They could fight any other tag team on the roster, and it could be a decent match. So I'm not quite understanding what's the deal here. we still don't have any more announcements going on towards who's going to be in the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. So no, really, superstars from SmackDown have not even announced that they're going to be in this. So I'm not really sure who's going to be in it, who's not going to be in it. It hasn't even been announced. So some things are booked, other things are not booked. So let's evaluate. Okay. Let's clear my throat. Blah blah. Okay. So let's evaluate some of the matches already booked at WrestleMania. Baron Corbin versus Kurt Angle. Could be good, could not be good. I don't know. We're just gonna have to see. Bobby Lashley versus Finn Balor. Probably gonna be a really good match because both of them are gonna put on a great show and show off in this match at WrestleMania. Under the Giant Battle Royal always happens every single year. We don't have a SmackDown women's tag team match. The tag team match, the women's tag team match, has not been officially booked yet. We don't know if it's going to be Sasha and Bayley versus, Tamina and Nia Jax, or whether it's going to be the Iconics, whether it's going to be Carmella and Naomi, whether they're just going to have a bunch of tag teams fighting each other versus Bayley and Sasha, like an open challenge match or something. Or it could end up being the return of Beth Phoenix and Natalya as her tag team partner versus Sasha and Bayley. So either way, it could be a decent match. It's just WWE needs to figure out what they're doing here. Obviously, Brock Lesnar versus Seth Rollins is probably going to be a really good match. Roman Reigns fighting Drew McIntyre should be a solid match, honestly. They fought each other in the past, and they've had awesome matches. The Cruiserweight Championship match should be pretty decent. Brock Lesnar versus Seth Rollins, again, I'm looking very forward to that. I think that's going to be one of the better matches. AJ Styles versus Randy Orton should be a solid match. Let me think here. And then Daniel Bryan versus Kofi Kingston is official, so that should be, again, they've always had good matches against each other. That should be a solid match for WrestleMania. We don't really know what to expect with Alexa Bliss, what she's going to be doing at WrestleMania. I would not be surprised if she doesn't get involved in one of the matches, honestly. So, with that, that's your WWE news. Also, Orty Lorcan, who was on NXT, is now signed to 205 Live. He is basically going to be on there for full-time, I guess. He's a full-time competitor now. So this past week, they had a AEW press conference or press release in Chicago about All In 2. So that is going to be happening. They've already have 4 events scheduled for AEW. Double or Nothing is coming up as well. So what they've discussed basically in this panel were questions were asked about possible commentators coming to the company. People's names that were being mentioned was Don Callis, Tony Schiavone, Mike Today, Don West, I believe, was even somebody else who they were mentioning, Matt Stryker, and Jim Ross. So those are some people that they were, mentioning who they would like to be in contact with to do commentary on their wrestling product. Cody Rhodes is still within the process to file the paperwork for the rights to Bash at the Beach. The Great American Bash is another one, and a few other trademarks that he's trying to get pushed through. Kenny Omega has officially signed his deal with the company, and several other talents are also being mentioned, such as Joey Ryan, the Lucha Bros, and Sunny Kiss, and who was the other for Phantasma, and there was one other person. Who was it? Oh yes, Allie. Allie is officially signed with the company. So huge loss for Impact. Honestly, I still believe that. So the other things that were being discussed during the panel were talents that they are interested in working with in the future if they were ever free agents. They mentioned people like Candice LeRae, who they were actually very interested in signing her eventually. That would be a huge pickup for them, honestly, if they decide that. Because I think her contract is going to be up in about 3 or 4 months, I believe, with WWE. The other person that they had mentioned, obviously, was Finn Balor, because they do have connections with him, obviously, being New Japan when they were there. Um, and I think Nakamura was the other one. So also, what I find real interesting was CM Punk was actually at this event, and they were interviewing him and hanging out with him.